All right, let's hit the field.
Welcome back, everybody, and Happy New Year. 2024 gave us some great memories, but it also gave us a few that we'd like to forget about and toss into the dustbin of history. That's why today we are beginning the 2025 calendar with 10 optimistic and realistic predictions for the New York Yankees in 2025. This is Pinstripe Territory.
Just wanted to talk, that's all.
All right. Happy New Year, everybody. How's it going? I hope that your 2025 is off to a stellar start. You're obviously here watching this podcast, so it can't be too bad. Usually we do these top 10 countdown type of programs as pre-recorded videos, heavily edited. But tonight's a special occasion. We're turning the page on 2024, so we decided we're going to do it live, so we can capture some of your reactions as well. We'll do it live. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy it. Please let me know in the comments if you enjoy this type of countdown video podcast. And if you do, we will do it more. All right, so let's begin with number 10. Austin Wells will be a 2025 American League All-Star. This prediction might not seem too exciting, but it's huge to have a legitimate young catcher. It's better that he's got a powerful left-handed swing, and he's also a plus defender. So let's go in for a closer look at Austin Wells. Now, you may remember that Austin Wells, when he was drafted, a lot of the initial talk was that his bat would play. It was a sure thing. But there were some questions about his defense. I remember on this very channel talking about how, he'd had some elbow problems in college and about how his throwing was going to need some work. Well, not only has the throwing improved, but his receiving is fantastic. And he's already proven that he can lead a pitching staff to the World Series. And he did a phenomenal job behind the plate, even though his offense slumped in September and October. But there was a 2-month or so stretch from June 6th through August 31st in which he hit .299 with a .930 OPS. Nobody expects him to keep up that pace for a whole season. The catching position is too difficult on the body. Very few guys can actually do that in the post-steroid era. He didn't have a great postseason offensively, obviously, but he did a nice job working with the staff and the matchups. And obviously with the bat, he did make some adjustments. Just like Aaron Judge, got some hits late in the World Series. And I think he would have been a dangerous bat had this series gone 7 games. But overall, 2.5 WAR, second to Cal Raleigh I have 2.5 and I have 3.4. He was second to Cal Raleigh in WAR. So we're going to go ahead and fix that. Anyway, he did a nice job this year. So hopefully he will bounce back, but improve on a very solid first year and make the All-Star team. I do think his offense will take a step forward. I can see him hitting 260, 270, 20 home runs, maybe more improvements on defense. I don't know if he'll pass Cal Raleigh in WAR next year, and I'm sure Adley Rutschman will take the next step forward, but I'm pretty excited to have Austin Wells on this team. All right, let's move on to number 9. Luis Gil will finish top 5 in the Cy Young voting in 2025. Now, Luis Gil was one of the bright spots for me in 2024. He almost didn't make the team. In fact, if it weren't for Garrett Cole getting injured with that edema in his elbow, Luis Gil might have started the season in the minor leagues, and all those great starts that he had would have been used up and wasted at AAA. As it turns out, he was Rookie of the Year. 15 wins, just 7 defeats. ERA was 3.5, but he got shellacked in his final game of the season. Before that, it was hovering around 3 for most of the summer. He began the year 9-1 with a 2.03 ERA. He had 17 starts in which he allowed 1 earned run or less. That, my friends, is really, really good. He posted a 3.1 WAR. He led the Yankees, and as far as I know, all of Major League Baseball in tattoos over his own Adam's apple. Because he missed some time with Tommy John surgery, he was somewhat old for a Rookie of the Year, 26 years old. So this will be his age 27 season. But he's already shown that he has crazy good strikeout stuff. 171 Ks in 151 and 2/3 innings. The only question with Heel is going to be, can he command the baseball? You know, a lot of young pitchers have the electric arms, but struggle to harness it, right? And I think that he's going to be one of these guys that, you know, given time, will get better command of the baseball. He's lucky to be in an organization that has one of the best pitching coaches in the major leagues in Matt Blake. And they have Garrett Cole, who's kind of like a player coach. And some of the best performances of Luis Gil's season came while Garrett Cole was down with that injury. Now, some of that was probably because he was fresh and he was ambushing the league. But Garrett Cole was working with him on the side, in addition to Matt Blake, to kind of develop his changeup, which became nasty, to work on the grip on his slider, which, you know, after he hit a midseason slump, he switched the grip on his slider. It became better, and he started to pitch well again. He wore down at the end of the season. That's to be expected. He threw more innings than he ever had before. But you should put him on your bingo card for next year to have a great season, because I think he's going to have I think he's going to step up. I think he's going to win 17, 18 games. He's got the confidence boost having won Rookie of the Year. He should be entering his prime at 27 years old. My prediction for Luis Gil, top 5 Cy Young finish in 2025. All right, before we get to number 8, as you can imagine, these podcasts take an enormous amount of time and effort to build, and it's obviously free of cost to you as the viewer. So all I'm asking for you in return is to enjoy the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It helps the channel grow, which is how I receive the fruits of my labor. All right, let's move on to number 8. All right, Paul Goldschmidt will end up being a fan favorite in 2025. Let's take a look at Goldschmidt.
More gold is required.
Now, this is not a statistical prediction, but more a prediction based on conversations I've had with Cardinal fans. I got a few buddies who are Cardinals fans, and you know, St. Louis is a great town for baseball, by the way. And you know, they tell me that this guy plays the game hard, that he hits the ball hard, that he hits the ball well to right field, that he's a heads-up player, that he plays good defense, that he's going to do well under the bright lights of Yankee Stadium. You know, he got off to a tough start last year, but he rebounded. It would be different if his stats were stronger in the first half and struggled in the second half. That would be more indicative of a guy who's wearing down because of age, but he rebounded. Word around the campfire was that his struggles were because he was trying to fine-tune some swing mechanics, but he got them locked in around the 90-game mark. As you can see, much better in the second half, 271, 480 slugging, 799 OPS. We've talked about it on the show before. He plays every day. In 9 out of the last 10 seasons, he's played 150 or more games. And the one time he didn't, it's because he played 58 out of 60 games in 2020. One word I keep hearing to describe him is ball player. Dude is a ball player, and I think that's going to be refreshing to fans of the New York Yankees. He plays the whole game well. He runs the bases well. He plays his position well. And apparently he's got a very high baseball IQ, which is something that this team desperately, desperately needs. I was listening to Joel Sherman a few hours ago on his podcast, and he was talking about, how basically Goldschmidt takes the game seriously, the whole game seriously. And that was like music to my ears, right? I want solid baseball players on this team again. I think fans are going to love him because he's consistent. He's going to do the little things like make heads-up plays on defense, heads-up base running plays, pick up sacrifice flies, hit the ball through an open right side. And his numbers should go up at Yankee Stadium because he hits the ball well to right field. So let me know in the comments how you're feeling about the Paul Goldschmidt move. I suspect he's going to have at least one more good year in him, at least. But if he does, the Yankees should be skeptical of falling into the trap of re-signing him to play again at 38. Because as someone who's been both 37 and 38, I can tell you they're both tough, but 38 is exponentially tougher. All right, prediction number 7. Anthony Volpe will put up a 5-win or 5-WAR season, almost equaling his total WAR from his first 2 seasons combined. And I'm going to attribute a lot of that to improvements he's going to make on the offensive side of the ball, which I think he's going to make those improvements. Now, this may be one of those situations where I'm predicting it not necessarily because statistically things are trending in that direction, although they kind of are, but more because it's something that we need to happen. Remember, this is a guy who for the first 2 months of the season had an on-base streak of 34 straight games. He, as late as June 5th, was hitting .290 with an .803 OPS. And on that date, the Yankees were 43-19, so he was a major catalyst for their fast start. He was hitting at the top of the lineup. He was a spark plug. Exactly the player that we need him to be. Former Gold Glove winner, more stellar defense last year, Grand Slam in the World Series, going to be 24 this year. One thing I think the Yankees need to do with Volpe is give him some more time off. He plays the game with his hair on fire. He's always diving for balls. He's always stealing and diving back on pickoff throws, hopping around on the bases. You know, a few days before Christmas, we lost Ricky Henderson. And when I come back to the regular camera, you'll see the Ricky statuette on my desk. And Ricky credited his longevity as a player and as a leadoff man for taking days off here and there and resting his body and making sure that he was in top form, you know, when he could be. In retrospect, I think that he was, you know, he knew his body well. And even though he caught some slack for, you know, maybe dogging it sometimes, he was managing his workload at a time before workload management was popular. I think the Yankees need to manage Anthony Volpe's workload a little bit better next year. I really do. Remember how much better he seemed to play after he got a few days off for a break here and there? The All-Star break, later in the season, he had a few days to tweak his mechanics. But, you know, I'd like to see more of the guy that we saw in the first 2 months playing high energy. And I think to do that, you need to maintain that energy a little bit better. That means possibly giving him some days off. He's got a great baseball IQ. He's a good base runner. He hits the ball hard. He's got some pop. I think he's going to rack up the WAR if you can just keep him healthy and keep him in that form that he was for the first 2 months of the season. 5 WAR might even be in the rearview mirror if he can manage to put up a full season like he did for the first couple of months last year. All right, prediction number 6. Big G will hit 35 home runs and play in 140 games next year. Last year was kind of a make-or-break summer for Giancarlo. He was coming off of back-to-back tough years. He hit 211 and 191, respectively. Couldn't play the field anymore. Couldn't run anymore. He spent just as much time on the injured list as on the active roster, it seemed like. And then he made some adjustments. Adjustments not only to his body, he lost a ton of weight, but the way he played the game. He basically threw in the towel on being an outfielder. He was exclusively a DH last year. He started taking advantage of the right side of the field a little bit more, less pull happy. That helped him raise his average over 40 points from 191 to 233, and he smoked 27 home runs. If he hadn't gotten injured, he might have hit 40. He's always going to hit home runs if he stays on the field because he's too strong not to. He makes contact and the ball just jumps off his bat. He's still got the best bat speed in baseball, and mass plus the velocity of the bat equals power. He's a unicorn. And we saw how dangerous he still is in the postseason. ALCS MVP, 4 home runs in the series, 7 home runs in the postseason, including 2 more in the World Series. But here's the thing. He still had to miss some time last year because of a leg injury. And like clockwork, once a year, he seems to pull a hamstring, if not more, once or twice. He seems to pull a hamstring and miss a month, and then it takes him a while once he comes back. My hunch, my prediction on Big G is that he is going to have a full and productive season, not playing the outfield, not doing any kind of running on the bases. He has learned now how to play on zero legs, and he's going to be even better at it. The ideal version of Giancarlo Stanton, and I've said this for years, is to be Nelson Cruz late in his career, or Paul Konerko, a guy who's just a DH every day, cog on the bases, forget that, but a home run threat 4 times every single game. And that's, I hope, what he's learning how to become. And he's coming to the grips with the fact that he's not a baseball player anymore. He's not going to play the outfield. He's not going to steal bases, although he did steal one in the playoffs. I think he's going to lean into being more the slugger that we saw in the postseason, and we could use that. And we've talked about how the Yankees need to make up in 2 areas of the offense after the departure of Juan Soto. On base percentage, which Stan's not going to help you much in that department. He swings at everything. And you got to make up some of those 41 home runs lost. I think Giancarlo can put a dent in that number by himself by tacking on another 7 to 10 home runs. And I think that's going to be the goal for Giancarlo next year. All right, on to number 5, and I hope you guys are enjoying this live version of the Top 10 Countdown. And by the way, there's Ricky on my desk. Rest in peace, Ricky. We miss you already. Great Ricky stories. Scour the internet for Ricky stories. Anyway, Yankees rotation will be dominant next year. I think all 5 pitchers have a chance to win 15 games and have an ERA between 3 and 3.5. We just brought back Gerrit Cole, who opted out. Yankees opted him back in on a 4-year deal. He didn't want to go elsewhere. Maybe he has 1 or 2 more good years in him, a la Justin Verlander in his late 30s. You got to hope so. They brought in Max Fried, who is the heir apparent as the ace, whose style has been tried and tested by the Yankees lefties throughout the history of the franchise. Andy Pettitte, David Wells, Whitey Ford, sinker slider lefties at Yankee Stadium. Keep the ball on the ground. Works pretty damn well. Let's take a look at the rotation. Carlos Rodon, last year had a little bit of a bounce-back year, 3.96 ERA, but still a few too many home runs. I thought he took some big strides in the playoffs in, understanding his emotions and how they impact the ball game and how they impact his performance. There were a couple of times where he began the game on fire. Remember that one time specifically against the Royals, he would begin the game on fire, throwing 99, striking everybody out, get all hyped up, expend all this energy, and then by the 4th inning, he was done. He would fall apart. Ultimately, he would have better performances when he managed his workload, when he pitched with a much more deliberate, controlled, and even-mannered disposition. We talked about Luis Gil. There's a reason we call him the real deal, quite simply because he is. I think he's going to win 17, 18 games next year. You just hope he dials in the command a little bit more. Clark Schmidt, the Yankees have been talking about how good his stuff plays for years. I remember back in 2020, in the intra-squad games, he was dropping those curveballs and getting Judge and Stanton to strike out. Finally, in 2024, he was just blossoming into one of the best pitchers in the American League when he went down with that oblique strain. Never quite fully recovered, I don't think. And then we got Marcus Stroman, who I think is going to be traded before the beginning of the season, although a couple of viewers have mentioned this, and I'm inclined to somewhat agree, maybe. And that is that the Yankees might hang on to him just in case if there's an injury in spring training or, an injury on another team in spring training that raises the price that you can get for him. So maybe no trade imminent for Marcus Stroman, but I do think eventually if everybody stays healthy, you have to trade Marcus Stroman. But pitching wins championships, no doubt about it, combined with timely hitting and fundamentals. Last year, the Yankees had 2 out of the 3 things in the playoffs. They had the timely hitting from Soto and from Giancarlo, and then they had pretty excellent pitching. So, all right, 4 left. Hit that subscribe button. Final reminder, let's move on to number 4. Cody Bellinger will have a resurgent year in 2025. Look, this is a guy that a lot of Yankees fans, myself included, have wanted on this team for the last few years. He's battle-tested. He's done it at the big league level. He's got an MVP. He's got a Rookie of the Year, a World Series victory, and through the power of AI, we'll take a look at him in a Yankee uniform. We've talked a lot about how he had the shoulder injury that changed his game a little bit when he was with the Dodgers. He made the adjustment when he went to the Cubs. He had a resurgent year 2 years ago in Chicago, hit over 300, 26 home runs, 97 RBIs, 20 stolen bases, tons of athleticism, tons of baseball ability, high baseball IQ, dependable outfielder, another guy that I think Yankees fans are going to love. He's had a lot of injuries, but most of them are from things like running into walls and getting hit by pitches, things that he really doesn't have a lot of control over. He'll rarely pull a hammy or a groin. It's mostly when he smashes into something. And as long as he avoids the Hulk smash and tries to run down walls, he'll be okay. I like that in recent years he's cut down on his strikeouts by taking more of a two-strike approach. If you go through the Baseball Savant page and you look at his base hits, especially the ones to left field, a lot of them were two strikes because he's not always trying to mash the baseball. And I think just by playing in Yankee Stadium, he's going to run into a few more home runs. Now, this is another prediction that I'm making because I need it to happen, and the Yankees need it to come true. So my official prediction for Cody Bellinger, 25 home runs, 290 batting average plus, 800 OPS plus, and excellent defense in center field. And we will take that. Action VJ says Cody has been waiting his whole life to be a Yankee, and I agree. That makes me like him all the more. All right, let's move on to number 3. Hope you guys are liking the format of the live show. Number 3 is The Martian. You guys know I'm a big fan of Jason Dominguez. Seems like just yesterday the Yankees were giving him $5.1 million to the 16-year-old kid out of the Dominican Republic. Since then, he lost a season to COVID. Then he rocketed through the minor leagues after a bit of a slow start. He took baseball by storm as a 20-year-old and was hitting third in the lineup in his second game in the major leagues, through his 8th game in the major leagues. And then, unfortunately, he got hurt.
The Martian.
Tommy John surgery, obviously took a big hit to his season last year, major setback, robbed him of almost all of the year in the major leagues. He did play pretty well in the minor leagues. He came up late in the season, kind of an awkward spot, trying to take Alex Verdugo's job. The team was trying to win the AL East, so Boone was, kind of playing the matchup game, and Dominguez wasn't getting regular at-bats. Made some mistakes in the outfield to kind of compound the problem. Didn't really factor into the playoffs except for as a pinch runner. But he was on the roster, and much like Jeter, much like Posada in 95, got to experience the Bronx in the postseason, got to experience the ALCS and the World Series, even if it was only as a pinch runner. This year, the training wheels are off, the pressure is on, and it's time for this Martian to probe Major League Baseball right in the naughty place. Alex Verdugo, he's replacing him in left field. Need to pick up that defense. And Jason needs to play a big role in the lost production from Juan Soto. He's an on-base percentage guy. He's always had a good eye. We also need him to make up for some power. 25 home runs or so. He's got to do it with his speed. He needs to be one of the higher on-base percentage guys on the team next year. I know we're asking a lot from this kid, but, let's also be patient and let him grow. Don't boo him every time he grounds out to shortstop. He's going to have his growing pains, but he's got as much talent as any prospect I've ever seen. We've already seen it in the major leagues. We already saw in his first week in the major leagues the type of player that he can become. So let's be patient with him. The kid is going to be a stud. That's why my official prediction for Jason Dominguez is that he wins the 2025 American League Rookie of the Year, which would give the Yankees 2 American League Rookie of the Years in a row. And for a farm system that gets a lot of hate around baseball, this team has produced some studs. Judge, Volpe, Wells, Luis Gil, although they traded for Luis Gil when he was still a prospect, and now hopefully Dominguez. Yankees farm is not as bad as people pretend it to be. All right, let's get to number 2. It's a big one. Ara says 265, 28 home runs, 35 stolen bases for the Martian. I'll sign up for that right now. All right, another thing I'll sign up for, my number 2 prediction, Aaron Judge will win his 3rd MVP award. Again, it should be his 4th because he got robbed in 2017. But I also think he's going to have his A-Rod 2009 postseason barrage. Let's take a look at Judge. Last year in the playoffs, even after hitting 58 home runs and batting .322 during the regular season, Judge had to have had the low point in his career, and he had to have been embarrassed. Not only the struggles offensively, dropping the ball in center field, I think he's going to play this year with a chip on his shoulder like we have never seen before. You know, I guess it was 98, the Yankees played with a collective chip on their shoulders after the loss to the then Indians in the 97 division series. I want Judge taking that kind of attitude all season long. Put 2024 so far in the rearview mirror that you can't even see it. I believe Judge, given all he has already accomplished, Rookie of the Year, 350 home run seasons, 2 MVPs, broke Roger Maris's AL home run record, first captain since Jeter, etc. Given all of that, I have to believe that he's got a little bit of that killer instinct of an athlete in him, right? The thing that makes certain athletes great. Mattingly, Jeter, Munson, all Yankee captains. Mattingly only got 1 shot in the playoffs, 1 series, but he performed great. We know about Jeter and Munson in the playoffs. Judge needs to add himself to that list. He knows it. Does he have some of that competitive fire that drove some athletes like Tom Brady or Michael Jordan or Tiger Woods? We're going to find out, but I suspect that he does. I really do. I suspect that somewhere deep down inside, Aaron Judge has an even higher level that he can get to. So I'm predicting Aaron Judge will win his 3rd, should be his 4th MVP, and go absolutely hog wild in the playoffs, 6, 7, 8 home runs. Much like A-Rod in the 09 playoffs, a lot of players that were great players have struggled in the playoffs until they didn't. Mookie Betts, A-Rod, Barry Bonds, happens a lot. Next year is the year Judge answers the critics. Count on it. And number 1. The Yankees will win the pennant once again. They will get back to the World Series in 2025. I'm not saying they're going to win it all, but right now I have them in the top 5 teams in baseball. The Dodgers, the Phillies, the Braves when healthy, and the Padres have been getting better. But the Yankees, I think, right now are the best team in the American League. The Astros have taken a step back. They lost Kyle Tucker. They're going to lose Bregman, it sounds like. And I think the Yankees have done enough to at least offset some of the loss of Juan Soto. So let's take a look at the additions. Obviously, Max Fried, Devin Williams, Cody Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt, Fernando Cruz so far. Subtraction, Soto, Holmes, Verdugo, Rizzo, Torres, Trevino, Canely, Hill. Chance that Canely and Hill could come back. Now, as you can see, the Yankees lost basically 8 wins above replacement when Juan Soto took his act to Queens. By the way, I think that's a horrible contract. I think it's going to age poorly. And you can see him out there wearing his mink coats and dancing on stage, popping champagne, acting like just a kid, a clown. Honestly, it reminds me of a lot of Mike Tyson in Tokyo before he lost to Buster Douglas. I'm getting that impression. I feel like he's getting a little bit too big for his britches, as my grandpa would say. And look, I'm predicting he's not even going to come close to the numbers he put up this year hitting in front of Aaron Judge. Anyway, enough about Soto. To the dustbin of Yankees history he goes. The Yankees trying to replace that value, doing the best they can with what's out there. Fried and Williams, outstanding pickups. Bellinger, I think, going to have a big year. I think that a lot of the improvement the Yankees need to make is going to come internally. Volpe, Wells, Chisholm, Dominguez, Giancarlo, Loaizaga, Ben Rice. If these guys improve, they can maybe make up for some of that lost WAR total. And also there could be some moves out there, left-handed relief pitching, maybe one more bat. Look, it's an inexact science. This is kind of roughly where we're at. I think that the Yankees need to, make up about 5 wins from the guys you see on your right and potential people that we bring in from free agency or trades at this point. Goldie, I think he can maybe have a 2-win season. I think, Bellinger, maybe he can get up to 3.5 or 4. So there is room for improvement. I think the Yankees can make those improvements. And I feel like they're going back to the World Series. And I still think that there's moves that they're going to make over the next couple of months before pitchers and catchers report in February. Anyway, that's it for my 10 predictions. Let's get to your reactions, your predictions. And we've got some voicemails here that we'll get to first.
Hey, Derek. This is Joe from Connecticut. Was just thinking, I like the moves that the Yankees have made. I think they have improved in some areas. And what they have last year, 94 wins. I do think there's a possibility they can win more than 94 games this regular season based off of better defense, better situational hitting, stuff like that. Where I'm concerned is the playoffs. And the reason I say that is Soto was clutch in the playoffs. You didn't have to worry about him. Now, you got Bellinger. He's had a lot of playoff experience, but he only hits 211 in the playoffs. Goldschmidt, I think, was around 260 in the playoffs. That's not terrible, but you're basically going to be going into the playoffs with nobody that you're really feeling good about, that you got a lot of confidence in other than Stanton. I think that's a concern. So I do think they can win more regular season games, probably come out with a one.
All right, I'm going to cut you off right there. I agree with every word that you said. I really do. But that's part of the reason that we need Judge to come through and, exercise those playoff demons. I don't think it's an option at this point. We're fighting the Joker, and the Joker's going to blow up Gotham if we don't stop him. We have no choice. We're Ethan Hunt hanging off of a cliff, and a nuclear bomb is, in a cargo plane. I've been watching all the Mission Impossible movies. Sorry, but you know what I'm saying. We have no choice but to get better, right? We have no choice for somebody else to hit. Judge has got to do it. Dominguez. I thought Volpe had better at bats in the playoffs. Maybe Wells hits in the playoffs this year. Stanton's going to be there. We hope some other guys step up.
Yo, Derek, it's a save situation.
Save.
Hey, I just wanted to tell you, congratulations on this year.
Appreciate it.
I really enjoyed your show. Quality every time that I watch. And I'm going to continue to watch you and grow and evolve. And every time I see you, it's ever evolving with your great content. So I wish you the best success in the future and obviously in the past. And, the OGs have been there since towards the beginning, I guess. I'll always be there, Derek. So I just wanted to say thank you for the great content that you put out. I'm really not going to make any comments about the trades yet in signings. I'm going to wait till maybe the beginning of spring training, see how things go. I actually think they need one more big bat.
Let's give them through pitchers and catchers
something
before we
a little bit more substantial in that lineup. And I think we'll be good to go. I think they're missing that one decent bat. So anyways, other than that, I have some other comments, but it can wait. I normally go around a minute, but I've exhausted that 1 minute. So anyways, Derek, again, Happy New Year, and look forward to your content in the future. Take care. Bye-bye.
Appreciate it, my friend. Appreciate it. Always excellent calls from the save situation. And we're going to do voicemails all season long again, just like we did last year. So go ahead and subscribe, join the channel, all that good stuff. Look, we're not going to know how this team shapes up until we've seen them play, 50 or 60 games. Let us get to Memorial Day, and we'll evaluate the team. We're going to be missing Juan Soto for sure, but that was his choice. We live in a world where you get to choose where you work, and he wanted to go work for the Mets. Good luck with that. I think that the Yankees will be fine. They'll find more players. As they say, Moneyball, you found these players, you'll find other players. I hope that's true. I hope it rings true for the Yankees. Again, everybody, Happy New Year. Hope you enjoyed the live version of the top 10. I think aside from one error with the WAR number on Wells, it went pretty flawless. I spent about 2 days working on it, so let's go ahead and, if I earned it, go ahead and drop me a subscribe. And once again, we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot. Hey, while I've got you here, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Pinstripe Territory is the official Yankees podcast of the Foul Territory Network. We are home to the #1 most watched MLB postgame show on YouTube since 2021. We're here after every Yankees game and for reactions to all the best news and rumors during the offseason. Be a part of the show by calling into the voicemail 718-899-1068. Try to keep it clean for me. And if you ever miss us on YouTube, be sure and subscribe on all your favorite podcast platforms. Go ahead and rate us 5 stars. It'll help other people find the show. Thanks for watching. See ya.